First-class graduate discovers life-changing love, invites hidden, touching mother to ceremony. Sarah Thompson stood at the brink of her dreams, cap and gown fitting her like a second skin. The unmistakable hum of excitement buzzed through the crowd, but inside, a storm brewed. As she glanced at her classmates, pride swelled in her chest. Graduating at the top of her class was no small feat for a girl who'd always had to fight for every step. Yet, among the cheers and applause, a void loomed: her mother. The woman who had walked away when Sarah was just a child. The reason for her deep-seated anxiety. What if her leap into law school meant ignoring the missing piece of her heart? The attic held ghosts of forgotten memories, and while sorting through old boxes, Sarah stumbled upon an envelope. Dust swirled in the air as she brushed it off, revealing fragile, aged paper. Her heart raced. This was her mother's handwriting, a symbol of the past she longed to understand but feared to embrace. With trembling hands, she unfolded the letter. Words like, "I'm so sorry and I love you" shattered her preconceived notions. Her mother had battled an illness, a storm Sarah had never known about. A bittersweet revelation, it churned emotions within her: betrayal for being left alone, longing for connection, and a desperate yearning that clawed at her insides. Days passed in a blur of anxiety and anticipation. The graduation ceremony loomed, and Sarah felt the weight of societal expectations. Would her classmates understand the monumental decision she had to make? In a moment of courage, she invited her mother, hoping for a reconciliation that might heal their wounds. "It could be our new beginning," she whispered to Alex, her childhood friend, who had always supported her from the sidelines. When they locked eyes, she felt a rush of hope mixed with dread. Was she about to invite chaos into her happiest day? The sun shone brightly on graduation day, a celebration of triumph. As Sarah stood among her peers, a knot twisted in her stomach. The crowd roared as names were called, but her focus remained halved. It flickered back and forth between the joyous faces of her friends and the unmistakable silhouette of her mother making her way through the throngs of students. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Sarah's heart thundered as she called her name from the stage. Her mother stood across the sea of graduates, eyes wide, trembling with hope and trepidation. Would she embrace her? Would Sarah let the audience witness such raw vulnerability? As anticipation hung in the air, Sarah faced the microphone, feeling the warmth of Alex's supportive presence at her side. Yet, confronting her mother felt like a leap off a precipice. Would love and redemption flow like sunlight into her heart, or would the past drown her in shadow? The moment crystallized before her, charging the air. All eyes awaited her choice, and so did her heart. Would she discover the bravery to embrace her mother, or would the day slip away with a gaping wound still open, forever haunting her sense of triumph? The microphone felt heavy in Sarah's hand, the cool metal grounding her as the universe seemed to pause. Her breath hitched in her throat, and the world around her faded into a blurry backdrop of colors and sounds. She could see her mother standing there, fear and hope etched across her face. A ghost of a woman she'd fantasized about as a child. This was the moment to choose. "Mom," she began, her voice shaky yet resolute. The single word twisted in her throat, filling her with a rush of years of unanswered questions and unhealed wounds. The audience shifted, their murmurs heightened, eager for the unfolding drama. As she spoke, Sarah felt the weight of the past pressing against her like a tidal wave. Memories of sitting alone on the swings, longing for a figure to push her higher, each birthday celebrating another year without a warm hug or comforting word. Those recollections mixed with flashes of the letter that had illuminated her mother's struggles, the sickness that had taken her away from her. "Mom, I know things haven't been perfect. I know you chose to leave, but the strangled words caught in her throat. I want to understand. I want us to try again. The crowd's tension transformed into soft gasps. She locked eyes with her mother, a tumult of emotions swirling between them. That chasm separating them, once defined only by abandonment and silence, now hinted at fragility and the possibility of connection. In that vast space, Sarah saw a flicker of something, the beginning of a bridge being formed. Amidst her swirling emotions, Sarah walked down from the stage, heart racing with each step. The world around her blurred, it was just her and her mother now. For a moment, time seemed tangible, filled with unspoken hopes and a lifetime of missed chances. Her heart pounded like a drumbeat of resolve, urging her forward. Mom, please, just hug me. Tears streamed down her mother's cheeks as she rushed forward, wrapping her arms around Sarah. The warmth of the embrace enveloped them, silencing the world. It felt right, as if the universe had conspired to pull them together after all those years. The touch ignited a flicker of something new: acceptance, forgiveness, and the tentative start of a relationship they had both yearned for but were too scared to pursue. The warm glow of sunshine filtered through the trees, illuminating them in a golden hue, almost magical. Sarah tightened her grip, savoring the feeling of her mother's heartbeat against her own. I've missed you, she whispered, each word a prayer for a future untainted by the past. I've missed you too, her mother replied, voice muffled against Sarah's shoulder. It was a bittersweet revelation, the embrace not solving everything but igniting a hope that perhaps they could find a way to navigate the complexities together. As they stepped away from the embrace, the crowd erupted into supportive applause, their cheers wrapping around them like a warm blanket. Sarah swiped at her tears, heart still racing. She felt raw but resilient, a beautiful knot of emotions ready to intertwine their lives in ways yet to be discovered. But beneath the warmth lingered uncharted territory. Could her mother truly learn to be present now, after years of absence? Was love enough to heal the scars hidden beneath their surfaces? Sarah glanced back at her classmates, the weight of their stares pressing down on her. The journey ahead loomed, a winding path, and a question surged within her: would their connection last beyond this moment? As she stood at the precipice of a new life, a realization hit her hard. This was just the beginning. With fragile hope fueling her, Sarah knew the next step would define not just her past, but her future. Would she dare to embrace the love they had only glimpsed, stepping into the unknown together? As the applause faded, Sarah felt as if she were stepping off a cliff, the ground below both exhilarating and terrifying. Hand in hand with her mother, the two of them walked away from the stage, hearts pounding in sync despite the years apart. Each step felt monumental, like embarking on an expedition into uncharted territory. They were no longer just strangers bound by blood but a complex puzzle beginning to take shape. Where do we go from here? Sarah heard herself whisper, half surprised at the uncertainty in her own voice. She looked at her mother, who had turned to her, worry etched in every line of her face. I don't know, her mother admitted, a tremor in her voice. But I want to try. That simple affirmation anchored Sarah. As they navigated the crowd, classmates approached, offering hugs and congratulations, eager to share in her triumph. Yet, each embrace felt different now, and Sarah's eyes kept drifting back to her mother. These moments of celebration mingled with the gnawing sensation of lingering questions. Once they found a small corner just outside the doors, the warmth of the sun spilled over them like honey. Sarah took a breath, full of anticipation and trepidation. Can we talk now, just us? She asked, her heart picking up speed. Of course, her mother replied, an eagerness lighting her face. They moved further away from the thrumming voices, the gentle hum of their shared moment cocooning them. Sarah looked out at the school grounds, the place that had been her battleground for survival, where she had forged friendships and shaped her identity. Now, with her mother beside her, it felt anew. I want to hear your side about everything. I need to know why you left. Her mother's face fell, sorrow swimming in her eyes. I wish I could take that pain away. I was sick, Sarah. Sick in ways I didn't know how to explain. I thought I was protecting you by disappearing. Protecting me? Sarah echoed, disbelief lacing her voice. You left me alone. I didn't understand anything. I thought you didn't want me. I thought leaving would be easier for you, her mother whispered. As if my absence would shield you from the burden of my struggles. Sarah shook her head. It didn't help. It only hurt. The tension between them crackled, raw and alive with emotion. I need to know how you can be here now, after all this. What has changed? Silence hung in the air, stretched thin. Her mother bit her lip, wrestling with her own pain, her head hanging low. I fought a long battle, Sarah. A hard one. I lost too much. But I made choices, changed things in my life. I didn't want to lose you too, not now, not after finding my strength to fight. Finally looking into her mother's eyes, Sarah saw a hint of something fear, yes, but also determination. If we're going to do this, can you promise to stay? Not like before. I mean really stay. Her mother reached out, fingers trembling as they brushed against Sarah's arm. I promise. I want to be here now. For you. For us. The declaration settled between them, a fragile bond slowly taking root in their hearts. Sarah felt a flicker of hope, ignited by the shared weight of their stories. Sure, the path ahead would be riddled with challenges, but right now, they had this moment raw, unvarnished honesty. In that brief silence, the future was an open book, its pages yet to be written. Sarah took a step toward her mother, a surge of emotions washing over her. Could this really be the start of something beautiful? Just then, a loud commotion erupted from the ceremony, startling them both. It was a cart rolling their way, and Sam, her best friend and partner in mischief, was steering it, a massive cake teetering precariously at the top. Hey! You too! Celebrate with us! Sam called, exuberance radiating from him. Laughter bubbled from Sarah, breaking through the heaviness. She looked at her mother, their eyes sparkling with a shared understanding, as if the weight of the past was gently lifting. It looks like we're not done celebrating yet. As they joined Sam, cake and laughter in tow, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that maybe, just maybe, she was finally learning how to embrace joy alongside the love she had fought so hard to reclaim. But as the festivities unfolded, a daunting voice inside her whispered, could this newfound bond withstand the weight of reality once the celebration fades? The scent of cake and the sounds of laughter wrapped around Sarah like a warm blanket. Sam's infectious energy lit up the atmosphere, pulling her along as they weaved through the throng of fellow graduates, parents, and teachers. Joy felt tangible in the air, a sweet reminder of the happiness she had nearly forgotten amid the weight of her past. But even in the celebration, Sarah felt echoes of uncertainty fluttering in her chest. Each cheerful face carried a ghost of doubt. Could her moment of joy be a beacon that led to lasting change? As they reached the center of the crowd, Sam stationed them both in front of the giant cake adorned with scarlet frosting, frosting as bright as her heart felt now. 1, 2, 3. He counted down before plunging a plastic knife into the cake, sending slices wobbling onto paper plates. Laughter erupted around them as friends and family gathered to share the sweet bounty. Amid her friends' chatter, Sarah's gaze flickered back to her mother, who stood at a distance, studying the scene. There was a mix of admiration and wariness in her eyes, a reflection of what stood between them, a bridge built from the past, under construction and fragile. Hey, new girl! Sam teased, pulling Sarah's attention back. How about you make a birthday wish while we celebrate your graduation? Wish? Sarah echoed, scanning the smiling faces of her classmates and the towering cake. The simplest wish fluttered through her mind, for things to be okay with her mother. Yeah. Blow out those candles. He encouraged, eyes sparkling with mischief. Once the candles were lit, Sam cupped his hands around his mouth, shouting for silence. The crowd obliged, their anticipation rising. Make a good one. Someone hollered from the back, laughter mixed with cheers. With her heart racing, Sarah closed her eyes, focused on that one wish, heart swelling with hope. She blew out the candles forcefully, and the audience erupted in applause. The sweet taste of possibility was evident in that moment, but with it brewed an undercurrent of reality. The questions that lingered in her mind were not far behind. "Let us cut the cake," Sam exclaimed, competently handing large slices to those waiting eagerly. Sarah accepted hers but found it hard to focus on the festivities. Each bite felt hollow compared to the tumult of thoughts swirling inside her. It wasn't long before she spotted her mother again. The smile had faded, replaced by lines of concern, guilt etching deeper into her features. Sarah's heart twisted. What was she really feeling? Did she regret returning? "Are you okay?" Sarah asked, her voice cutting through the laughter. She walked over, half an apology, half a need for reassurance. Her mother blinked, the sunshine casting a soft glow upon her face. "It's just, so much. I never thought I'd be here after everything." "I want you here," Sarah confessed, the words escaping more gently than she expected. "But it's still weird. Awkward." Awkward is an understatement, isn't it? Her mom chuckled softly but with a hint of sadness. "I wish I could fast forward to when it feels normal." With newfound resolve, Sarah took a deep breath, her stomach nodding with hesitation. "What if we started with something simple? Maybe you could join us for dinner with Sam afterward. It might help." Her mother's eyes widened for a moment, hope battling uncertainty. "I would love that, but what if I mess it up? I don't want to ruin anything." The chaos of congratulations faded into the background as they shared an understanding gaze. "You won tea," Sarah assured her, standing a bit taller. "We'll just keep being real with each other. Like today." Just as her mother seemed on the verge of agreeing, the crowd suddenly roared. Sam had jumped atop a table, raising his cake-covered plate victoriously. "All right everyone, time for a graduation dance-off. Here we go." Sarah laughed, a flood of joy washing away lingering doubts for the moment. But as she pulled her mother along into the circle, a flicker of unease replaced the laughter in her heart. Could this newfound bond really withstand the coming storm? The moment held the promise of change, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the real test was just beginning. As feet shuffled and laughter filled the air again, she glanced at her mother, heart pounding. Would they both be ready when reality knocked back? The energy of the dance-off crackled through the air, as if every beat of the music brought something new to life. Sarah watched as her classmates let loose, some breaking into silly moves while others flaunted their best dance steps. Laughter echoed around them, but still her thoughts lingered, swirling like the frosting on the giant cake. "Come on, Sarah. Show us your moves," Sam shouted, pulling her into the center of the chaos. Heart racing, she let the music wrap around her, trying to push away the gnawing doubts. But her gaze shifted to her mother, lingering on the edge of the dance floor, a spectator in this moment of joy. The dance was contagious, yet there was a barrier standing between them. "Just go for it." Sam nudged her with excitement. Gathering her courage, Sarah swayed her hips and threw her arms into the air, trying her best to embrace the carefree spirit of the night. Maybe this would be enough to bridge the gap, she thought. As she danced, Sarah felt the warmth of freedom and laughter filling her lungs. But then, she stole another glance at her mother. The light in her eyes flickered, uncertainty still weighing heavy on her shoulders. What if tonight wasn't the turning point she hoped for but merely a band-aid over an open wound? Breathless from dancing and emotion, Sarah returned to her mother. "You should join us. It's fun," she urged, almost pleading. She lifted her hand, inviting her into the throng of color and movement. Her mother hesitated, a flash of panic darting across her face. "I couldn't possibly." "Sure you can," Sam chimed in, wearing a broad grin. "Look, it's about having fun and reconnecting. No pressure. Sarah could see the struggle behind her mother's eyes. It was as if the walls they built were too sturdy to break down in a moment's notice. What if I make a fool of myself? Her mother whispered, doubt weaving its way into her words. What if you don't? Sarah countered, her voice resolute. We'll just laugh it off. Together. Finally, with a glimmer of determination, her mother stepped forward, just slightly. With a soft smile, she took a deep breath and joined the circle, her movements tentative yet hopeful. It felt like the first step toward healing, however small. As Sarah danced alongside her, it was like weaving new threads into the fabric of their relationship. The rhythm pulsed through them, breaking down the walls brick by brick. Sarah felt the warmth of connection igniting. It wasn't perfect, but it was real, sincere. She could sense the flicker of joy in her mother's heart growing just a little bit brighter. See? You're doing great. Sarah cheered, and as her mother chuckled, the sound felt like music too, warm and light like the best part of the old memories they were fighting to rediscover. But just as Sarah thought she had captured the moment, just as the music reached a crescendo, her mother paused amidst the carefree energy. Looking straight at Sarah, the smile faded slightly, her eyes clouded with what felt like 1,000 unspoken words. What is it? Sarah said softly, stepping closer. Her mother shook her head slowly, emotion breaking through her surface. I just need to talk to you, really talk. Time suddenly froze. The music continued, but Sarah's heart dropped. What was set to be a night of celebration and connection shifted into something deeper, something raw that felt both thrilling and terrifying. Okay, Sarah replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Just not right now, okay? Let us finish tonight, but deep inside, dread curled in her gut. What would her mother say? Would this conversation shatter the fragile moment they had created? As her mother nodded, worry mixing with her resolve, Sarah could only hope they were both ready for the revelations that lay ahead. The dance floor pulsed with life all around them, yet within the warmth of that celebration, shadows loomed, waiting for their chance to be faced. And as they moved together amidst laughter and music, Sarah knew that the night was far from over. Reality was just waiting for an opening, and it would come. Soon. The dance floor buzzed around them, but Sarah could no longer focus on the swirling colors or the laughter that echoed off the walls. Every beat felt heavier now, each note pulling her deeper into the emotional storm swirling in her chest. She glanced at her mother, who seemed to be battling her own inner chaos. The smiles they shared moments ago felt fragile, balanced on the edge of something unspoken. Why now? Sarah wondered, caught between the thrill of connection and the weight of impending conversation. She felt like a juggler, balancing a flaming torch in one hand and a fragile glass ornament in the other. Just then, Sam danced by, his carefree spirit lighting up the room. Hey, Sarah! Look at this move. He spun joyfully, the dance-off spirit reminding everyone of the absolute joy of being young and free. For a moment, Sarah smiled despite herself, but her thoughts returned to the conversation waiting in the wings. Let us just enjoy tonight, she whispered under her breath. But could they? The music pulsed a steady beat, a backdrop to the thousands of unspoken words caught in her throat. With each second, the urgency to talk built as they spun through the dance. The joy that surrounded her started to feel like a distant wave, retreating further away, leaving her exposed. Mom, she began but stopped short, gazing into her mother's eyes. They were a mix of fear and resolve. Sarah, her mother's voice wavered, a stark contrast to the joyous clamor of the celebration. Can we take a walk? Just the two of us. Sarah's heart raced, a fresh wave of anxiety washing over her. She nodded slowly, leading the way outside, where the cool evening air wrapped around them like a balm to the mounting heat of the dance floor. The stars glimmered overhead, a shimmering tapestry against the night, but she barely noticed. Her focus was solely on the woman beside her. They stepped away from the thrumming music, into a quieter part of the schoolyard illuminated by soft lights. The contrast between the warm celebration and the cool reality of their moment felt jarring. "What did you want to talk about?" Sarah's voice came out steadier than she felt. Her mother took a deep breath, a moment that seemed to stretch on forever. "I want to tell you why I've been so distant, why I feel like I can't connect." The sincerity in her eyes tugged at Sarah. The shadows from inside flickered in the peripheral, but she pushed them away. "I'm listening, Mom." The vulnerability in her voice surprised her. "I've been scared," her mother admitted, her voice thick with emotion. "Afraid that my struggles would only bring you down. I thought if I kept you at a distance, you'd be safe from me." Sarah's heart twisted. "But I need you. We need each other." Tears pooled in her eyes. "I don't want to dance around the pain anymore. I want to face it together." Her mother's gaze dropped to the ground, the pain and shame clear on her face. The weight of the truth hung heavy between them, but Sarah felt a flicker of hope igniting in the darkness. "We can work through this, find a way back to each other." A small breath escaped her mother, filled with uncertainty yet edged with something new resolve. "You're right. I never wanted to hurt you, but I didn't know how to reach out." They stood there, the world around them quieting as the rhythm of their hearts began to sync with an unspoken promise. Suddenly, the distant joyous laughter felt closer, like a reminder that love is sometimes messy but worth sticking around for. As they began to step back toward the dance floor, a wave of energy surged through Sarah. Maybe they could share laughter again, let the healing begin. But just then, a distant commotion drew their attention. A frantic voice broke through the joy, and her heart clenched. "Sarah! Mom!" A shadow loomed closer, uncertainty dancing in the air. "What now?" Sarah questioned softly, dread creeping back into her gut. The night had only just begun, but was their moment of reconnection already on the verge of being interrupted? The figure drew closer, and as the shadow emerged from the light, Sarah's stomach dropped. It was Jenny, her younger sister, breathless and wide-eyed. "Sarah! Mom!" Her voice cracked with urgency, cut through the night like a knife. "Jenny, what's wrong?" Sarah asked, stepping forward instinctively. The joy of their recent conversation evaporated into thin air, replaced by dread. Jenny's frantic energy was infectious, sending ripples of panic through both women. "I saw something terrible," Jenny gasped, trying to catch her breath. "You have to come quick." Sarah exchanged a quick glance with her mother, whose face was now a mask of confusion and concern. All the weight of their earlier moments spun away as a new reality crashed upon them, shattering the fragile connection they had just begun to forge. "What did you see?" Sarah pressed, anxiety knotting in her chest. It's Sam. He's on the ground. I think he's hurt." Jenny's tear-streaked face turned pale under the glow of the yard lights. The world around Sarah sharpened, every sound falling away except her heartbeat, thumping loud and fierce in her ears. "What? How?" "He fell off the stage when he was showing off. He was trying to do that crazy flip move." The panic in Jenny's voice cracked. "Everyone's screaming, and I don't know if he's okay." Moments before, Sarah had been on the cusp of hope, ready to embrace the possibility of healing with her mother. Now, she felt everything slipping like sand through her fingers. "Let us go," she shouted, grabbing Jenny's hand and half-dragging her towards the gym doors, her mother close behind. As they rushed through the school hallways, the din of the dance echoed behind them, laughter now turned to cries of concern. The air felt thicker with every step, tension coiling tight in Sarah's chest. When they burst into the gym, chaos reigned. Students were clustered, some yelled for help, while others stood in shocked silence, their faces a portrait of fear and disbelief. And there, in the center, lay Sam, a circle of worried classmates surrounding him. Sarah's heart raced as she pushed her way through the crowd. She caught sight of him lying on the floor, his face pale, eyes closed. "Sam!" she cried, but the sound barely broke through the chaotic environment. Her mother reached out to touch her arm. "Call 911. Right." With quaking hands, Sarah reached for her phone, but in that instant, all her recent worries became insignificant. The storm of emotions roiling inside her was nothing compared to the fear gripped around her heart. "Sarah, please," her mother urged, squeezing her shoulder gently. "Breathe. We need to focus." The desperation in her mother's eyes mirrored her own. They were on the same team now, bound by the urgency of the situation, their recent moment of connection entwined in a shared commitment to care, not just for each other, but for Sam too. As the sirens wailed in the distance, Sarah crouched by Sam's side, clutching his hand. "Stay with me, Sam. Please fight. We're here." But somewhere in the chaos, doubt seeped in, whispering questions into her thoughts. What if it was too late? What if they didn't have the strength to face this together? A shadow fell over them, it was a paramedic, and time shifted, the moment becoming heavier and thicker. "What happened?" he asked, and all Sarah could do was stare, her heart still racing, unsure when everything had changed so drastically. She squeezed Sam's hand, praying for a miracle. In that vulnerable silence, they all awaited the fragile answers of the night. What would it take to mend the fractures around them? Would they discover the depth of their bonds amidst so much uncertainty? As the paramedics began their work, a thought struck Sarah, a curiosity rising within her. Could this trauma somehow stitch together their shattered hearts, forging a deeper understanding among them all? Was healing possible in the depths of this painful moment? But before she dove deeper into this line of thought, another voice broke through, loud and clear, echoing through the room. "Where's my brother?" The voice sent a chill down Sarah's spine. A tall boy pushed through the throng, panic igniting his eyes. He was disheveled and breathless, as if he had sprinted from across town just to get there. Sarah recognized him. Derek, Sam's older brother. Derek had always been quick to laugh, the kind of guy who filled up a room with his energy. But now, the wild fear in his expression made her heart ache. "Derek, he's right here." Sarah gestured, still kneeling by Sam. Sam fell, but the paramedics are on their way. Without a word, Derek barely seemed to register her, rushing to Sam's side, his hands trembling. He knelt next to Sarah, fear overtaking the playful spirit that usually danced in his eyes. "What happened?" His voice broke, raw and desperate. Before Sarah could answer, the paramedics moved in, their professionalism cutting through the chaos. They began assessing Sam, the tension in the room thickening with every second that passed. Derek reached for Sam's hand, intertwining it with his own, like a lifeline amid the storm. "Stay with me, bro," Derek murmured, his voice a quiet plea that held all the weight of their brotherhood. Sarah watched, the sight of the two brothers swirled up emotions that danced between fear and hope within her. The camaraderie they shared echoed heavily in the air, reminding her of how fragile life could be. A paramedic looked up, his expression serious but calm. "He's unconscious. We need to get him stabilized before we can move him." Sarah felt as if her heart had stopped. "Stabilized? Is he?" "Ma'am, we're doing everything we can. Please step back." She nodded, feeling the edges of panic closing in once again. It was so hard to watch, so hard to just stand there. Her own feelings of helplessness echoed her mother's earlier words. "Breathe. Focus." Just then, another figure emerged through the crowd. Mom. She rushed to Sarah's side, her eyes wide with uncertainty. "What can I do?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Just be here," Sarah whispered. In that moment, the tiny flicker of their earlier connection felt too far away, lost in the clamor of the gym and the urgency of the scene before them. The sirens stopped, the paramedics working swiftly, and Derek silently pleaded with Sam to wake up. The room felt suspended in a time that stretched, the quiet breaths of onlookers laden with their collective anxiety. As Sarah shared a look with her mother, she understood this was the moment where they'd either shatter further or find a way to pull together. "Come on, Sam," Sarah urged quietly. "You've fought through so much already." As if on cue, a subtle squeeze from Sam's hand under Derek's grasp sent a ripple of hope through her. But the paramedics' faces remained grave. The moment stretched. Finally, as the paramedics prepared to lift Sam onto a stretcher, Derek's voice broke out, stronger. "Sam, you can't leave us like this. Fight. Just fight." A sudden stillness enveloped the gym. Everyone held their breath, caught between despair and a fierce hope. Sarah couldn't help but wonder what if they found strength not only in their fear, but in their connection, their love. As they wheeled Sam away, the sight made it all too real, an unbearable weight pressing down on her chest. Would they be able to find a way through the darkness? Would they learn to embrace each other in the aftermath of fear? Just then, amongst the cries and flickering lights, Sarah heard Derek mutter fiercely, "I'll never let you go." What would that promise mean if Sam couldn't fight through this? How could they possibly overcome this night? As the door swung shut behind the paramedics, the remaining crowd stood silent, their hearts heavy with unanswered questions, and a feeling of dread began to settle like a dark cloud above them. What awaited them on the other side of that door? Derek stood frozen as the paramedics disappeared with Sam, the hum of the gym fading into a dull roar in his ears. His heart ached, torn between the chaos around him and the aching need to be strong for his brother. As the crowd shifted, murmurs rustling like leaves in a storm, he felt a tightening grip of fear knotting in his stomach. "Derek!" His mother's voice broke through, shaky and pained. She reached out for him, but he was already moving, following the ambulance crew's path through the doors. What else could he do? Sam needed him. "Wait!" Sarah called, her voice trailing behind him, getting lost in the noise. But he couldn't turn back. Not now. Outside, the night air hit him like a cold bucket of water. He trudged toward the waiting ambulance, trying to breathe in the sharpness. The blue and red lights flashed in ominous rhythm. Derek felt hollow, a shell of who he used to be, nothing but a vessel carrying this unbearable weight. As he approached, a familiar voice cut through his haze. "Derek!" It was Sarah sprinting behind him, her face flushed and desperate. He stopped, heart hammering in his chest. "What are you doing?" he asked, his own voice hoarse and raw. "I want to help." "I can't just stand there," she said, eyes wide with determination. A pang of gratitude flickered inside him. Even amidst the swirling fears, there was comfort in her presence. It reminded him of the countless times they faced things together. "Okay, just stay close, all right?" She nodded, and together they moved toward the paramedics unloading equipment from the back of the ambulance. Derek watched, helpless, as they began to work. Their hands moved swiftly but carefully, a mechanical dance born of training and experience. The whole scene was surreal, like something out of a movie he never wanted to see. "Derek?" Sarah's voice was softer, catching him off guard. What if he doesn't wake up? A pit opened in his stomach at her question. "Yes, Sam," he replied sharply. "He's tougher than anyone I know." But even as he said it, doubt slipped between his fingers like sand. Moments passed, each second stretched, the air thick with tension and unspoken fears. Then, a paramedic emerged, and the dark-eyed medic locked eyes with Derek. "We're stabilizing him, but we need to get him to the hospital. He needs immediate care." "Is he?" Derek couldn't finish the sentence, the terrifying truth choking him. The paramedic gestured back toward the ambulance. "You can ride with us. Stay strong for him." Derek nodded, swallowing hard. With a swift motion, he climbed into the ambulance. Sarah followed, pressing close beside him. This small space felt trapped, yet there was also a strange comfort in the closeness, the shared fear, the unbroken connection. He took Sam's hand again, wishing desperately for a response. "Please, Sam. Fight." "You're our light," he murmured, voice shaking. Then, out of nowhere, the silence was shattered by a loud beep. The monitors flickered to life, a rush of sound that forced Derek to grasp the edges of reality. A new alert, a sign that something was happening. Derek looked at Sarah, her eyes wide, reflecting his own fear. Would their brother be okay? Would they be able to get through this night unbroken? Just as they pulled away from the gym, a flicker of movement caught his eye. Sam's fingers twitched ever so slightly. Derek's breath caught in his throat. "Sarah. Did you see that?" "Yes. Come on, Sam. You can do this." But would that be enough? As the sirens wailed and the city blurred past, the fading lights behind them felt like a memory. Would they leave everything they loved behind? "Stay with us," Derek shouted, anguish threading through his voice. The tension was palpable, humming in the air. All they could do was hope. Would hope sustain them through this dark night? What awaited them at the hospital? The hospital loomed like an unyielding fortress, lights flashing against the dark sky. Derek clenched his fists, tension coursing through his body as he endured the interminable wait. Each beep of the monitoring machines echoed in his ears like a countdown, a reminder of how fragile life was. Beside him, Sarah sat, her fingers nervously playing with the hem of her shirt. The silence hung heavy, layered with unspoken fears. "He'll come through this," she murmured, though her voice trembled with uncertainty. "He has to." Derek could only nod, though doubt nagged at him. This wasn't just about Sam, it was a reckoning for all of them. They were all caught in the shadows of their pasts, threads woven tightly together, and now they had to untangle the mess. Just then, the ER doors burst open. A doctor appeared, weariness etched into her features. Derek's heart raced, and he instinctively stood taller. "Is he okay?" Her eyes softened, and she took a breath. "He is stable now, but he has a concussion and some bruising. We'll need to keep him for observation. You can see him shortly." A wave of relief washed over Derek, allowing light to seep through the cracks of fear. He turned to Sarah, the worry in her eyes transforming into fresh determination. "You hear that? He is going to be okay." But as the hope brightened, a darker thought crept in. They still needed to face each other. "What about us?" he murmured, almost scared to put the words out there. "Right," she replied, biting her lip. "We need to talk, for real. Before anything else happens. I can't lose you or Sam again," he confessed, worry coloring his voice. "This isn't just about him. We're still figuring out our connection too. We can't let fear pull us apart again." Sarah nodded, her eyes glistening. "We've got to move forward. Together." Time passed as they waited, coiled in each other's fears and hopes, the hospital's muted sound surrounding them. At last, the nurse appeared. "You can see your brother now. He is awake." Derek took a breath, the anxiety replaced with something fierce. "Let us go." They rushed into the dimly lit room, where Sam lay, pale but awake, the beeping machines a comforting rhythm. Derek instantly felt a flood of emotion, overwhelming relief mingling with love. "Sam!" he breathed, rushing to his side. "Hey, bro," Sam replied weakly, a half-smile creeping onto his face. "Didn't he mean to worry you?" Derek chuckled softly, relief spilling over. "You always have to steal the show with your stunts, huh?" Beside him, Sarah stepped in, her eyes wide, tears brimming. "You scared us so much. You have to stop doing crazy things." "Crazy?" Sam teased with a weak grin. "You love the craziness." It felt like pieces of their lives were falling back into place, reconnecting amidst the chaos. Sam's voice, even in its frail form, reminded Derek of their childhood filled with laughter, adventure, and an unbreakable bond. "Listen," Sam continued, turning serious with effort, "I'm okay, right? Just going to need to take it easy. Yeah, we'll take care of you, Derek replied, squeezing his brother's hand gently. But behind the humor, there was a burden that had yet to be lifted. And we've got a lot to talk about too, right? Sam nodded, awareness dawning. I know. I saw you guys in the crowd, and it's time we untangle this. Especially with our family. Instantly, both Derek and Sarah exchanged an understanding glance, a silent acknowledgement of their collective fears. It was time. And as the conversation unfolded, the laughter and memories streamed back into their lives like water cascading over rocky terrain, refreshing yet raw. They opened up, revealing doubts, fears, and unhealed wounds, but also hope and dreaming of the possibilities that lay ahead. As they dug deeper, Derek felt the past releasing its grip, each shared story like a piece of heavy luggage being set down. The tentative road into a future felt brighter, it flickered like the flickering lights above. Before long, the air in the room shifted. The echoes of their laughter burst forth, filling the sterile space with warmth. In that shared healing, they discovered a newfound strength, powered by love and connection, unbreakable links forming in the wake of struggle. Standing at the threshold of a new beginning, Derek glanced over at Sarah, whose smile radiated praises. No matter what, we'll stick together, she stated, her voice strong, resonating through the unforgiving space. That's a promise, Sam chimed in, his eyes filled with determination. Derek smiled, heart swelling. For once, it felt like they were not just a chain of broken pieces but a mosaic of connections, ready to face whatever came next. This was their moment and opportunity to redefine the meaning of family. As laughter mixed with the echo of hope, Derek knew they could conquer the shadows, that strength would blossom from the ashes of fear. And as the sun began to rise outside the window, illuminating the hospital room with golden light, a new chapter stirred, waiting to be written. Together. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because every single click matters more than you can imagine. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending, it really means the world to us. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation, because you need to keep this inspiration flowing. Don't wait not even one more second to share. True fans know how crucial it is to support the channel through these actions.